Let me make sure this. Okay, recording has started. So everyone knows they're being recorded. Global Action Committee Resources Meeting. So my name's Renee. I've worked for Girl Scouts for a little over 5 years now. I really enjoy it. In the past year or so, I've started doing a lot more with global and destinations, and just all kinds of little things keep popping up, and I'm doing that, doing them for Girl Scouts. So this is kind of one of those things that kind of fell in my lap with the global stuff, the Global Action Committee. So let's see. I guess a little bit more about me. I live in Lincoln. I have 3 kids. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and I have 5-month-old twins, and a boy and a girl. I am excited for my daughter, my 3-year-old, to get into kindergarten so she can be a daisy someday. I think that'll be fun. And I am interested in this community committee just because I love global Girl Scouting, and I think it's a really unique way to learn about the world that through the Girl Scout lens, and I think it offers an interesting perspective, and important perspective too. And see, I lived in South Korea for a year after college. I taught English to kids and I did a bunch of other traveling. And then I've worked with refugees on and off, volunteering and professionally for probably 13 or 14 years. So I've done a lot of stuff with the refugee communities over the years. So that's kind of my global background. Susan is we have an official, so I'm the council contact for the Global Action Committee, and Susan is like the official, quote unquote, Global Action volunteer. So she's kind of my counterpart, and she does a lot of the, she's in on a lot of the planning and the activities that with Girl Scouts, GSUSA, the webinars we have monthly. So she's kind of we work together. So Susan's going to introduce herself now. Go ahead, Susan.
Okay, thanks, Renee. I'm Susan Mayberger, and I live in Omaha, Nebraska, and I have 3 children, but they're all adults. I have a daughter in Boston, a son in New York, and a son in Oakland. And I am not a Girl Scout and have not been a Girl Scout, but I very much like the leadership that Girl Scouts develop. And so I'm part of this committee because I retired last year from working in the Omaha Public Schools as the coordinator for the ESL Migrant and Refugee Program. And a good friend of mine is Lori Williamson, who works with Girl Scouts. And so when she knew I was retiring, she asked if I would be interested in being part of this program, and it really appeals to me on a lot of levels. I wanted to connect Girl Scouts to the refugee and immigrant community, both in Omaha and in Nebraska. One of my part-time jobs is I work with migrant education. I'm the binational coordinator, and so I bring teachers from Mexico to Nebraska every summer, and they're in 5 different regions. So one in Columbus, one in Scottsbluff area, one in Hastings, and one in Omaha, and in the Wakefield area. And so I was thinking that there were going to be natural ways that the Global Action Committee might dovetail nicely with my interest in immigrant and refugees, and with my goal of just having more leadership developing girl leadership. So that's me.
Great. Thank you, Susan. Ben, do you want to unmute yourself and talk a little bit about yourself?
All right. So my name's Jen Carranza. I live in Lincoln now, but I am a military brat. I was born in Greece and then lived all over. I've been a Girl Scout pretty much since I was in kindergarten, with a couple years off after college before I had my own kids. During that time, I was a Girl Scout overseas in the Azores Islands. And so when we did Thinking Day, our Thinking Day wasn't about countries. We each represented the state that our parents were from. So it was just a little different twist on Thinking Day. My husband is from Italy. We got married there in Italy, and he became a U.S. citizen when my oldest was about 18 months old. So we've gone through that whole very long, expensive process. And then every year we host students from Japan. This middle school that I started teaching at when I first moved to Lincoln has a sister school in Japan. So the kids write to the students all year, and then the students travel here every summer. So we've done that for 9 years, and we either host 2 or 3 students every time. So we really like doing that kind of stuff and getting to know the kids and just immersing ourselves in the culture. And then I lead 2 Girl Scout troops. One is a Brownie troop, and then the other is a combined junior cadet. And they last year wrote to girls in Japan, and they really loved that. So I just thought it was a nice way for us to continue doing that. And then, yeah, I love traveling. So if that's an opportunity for me, I want to jump at that opportunity. So.
And Bree, I guess we heard a little bit about you a little already. You're graduating from UNO soon. Is there anything else you want to throw in there? Like, what makes you interested in this committee or?
Yeah. So kind of how I was mentioning before, I guess one of my majors is Spanish, and I'm having a minor in international studies too. So definitely international relations has been something I've always been interested in. And even in Girl Scouts, my parents and I used to host the Japanese Girl Scouts that came, and that was super fun. I've just done different World Thinking Day events, trying to educate people about different countries and different cultures. So it's kind of been since I've been a Girl Scout since kindergarten. I've always been interested in helping and kind of connecting people internationally. So that's kind of what got me started. But then also just when I was studying abroad in Spain, that really kind of helped fuel the passion for traveling and wanting to learn more about cultures. And I kind of just want to help share that passion with other people and hopefully get to do that with this committee and the program.
Wonderful. There's a lot of talk about Japan here, and I just realized I'm wearing my Japan t-shirt, if you can all see it.
Hey.
It says, be a sister to every Girl Scout, and it's Japan 2017, and there's Mount Fuji on it. So I led the trip last summer for the council. So I just realized I was wearing that. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of start talking here, and I'm going to try to give you as much information as I can in a short amount of time. And I'm going to flip between the PowerPoint presentation and then probably websites and PDFs. So if you're watching video, I'm just going to be flipping back and forth. Again, just to give you lots of information. So everything we're going to talk about tonight, this is just a list of resources and things that we can do. So the Global Action Committee is here to increase awareness among Girl Scout volunteers and staff about global Girl Scouting and the interconnectedness of girls and girls' issues throughout the world by providing consistent global programming for every Girl Scout at the local level. So that's a lot, and it can look like a lot of different things. So I'm going to show you, we have a couple great PDFs, and Susan will probably recognize these, but the Global Action Volunteer Focus Areas. So number 1, develop global programming and mainstream existing programs. So journeys, troop leaders are going to be familiar with journeys. So spotlighting the global connections and journeys, promoting specific days relating to global Girl Scouting, promote the Global Action Award, mainstreaming global Girl Scouting into current programming at the council or service unit level, promote girls' cross-cultural and travel opportunities. So here we got integrate and share our global story, serve as a global ambassador at your council, being a resource, educate and promote the story of global Girl Scouting. And then here we have the third one, build strong global infrastructure. So having a great active Global Action Committee that serves girls is what I'd love to see. Engaged GAV or Global Action Volunteer Program. So we'd like to see members participating in webinars and sharing resources and delivering high-level, consistent training to volunteers and service units on global content is great. So this is just kind of a summary on that. Unified goals, and I will send all these PDFs so you can have them. So to the volunteer purpose to provide consistent global programming for every Girl Scout to drive retention, ensure that every Girl Scout has opportunity to become a responsible and effective global leader, increase awareness of global Girl Scouting amongst girls, parents, volunteers, and staff. So there are documents like this, unified goals. Here's a little bit about how GSUSA can support us. So there's a lot of information there. And then I have a what is global PDF here. For Girl Scouts, global is an essential part of our organization's inception and development. Being part of a global sisterhood of girls and volunteers and a member of WAGs, applicable to all nations inclusive of the United States. It's more than travel, and I think that's a really important thing to talk about for some people who aren't ready to travel, who aren't comfortable. It's part of our life skills pillar and the best kept secret in global Girl Scouting. So here's some stats about global Girl Scouting, and I mean, you all probably understand that it's important, and that's just what these statistics say. So that's just a little bit of some documents that I'll send out to you, and you can look at them more kind of around the purpose of the Global Action Committee and resources, like high-level strategy thinking. So local to global, we have this as our theme for this year, and I think it's perfect timing to get a Global Action Committee up and running. So this blurb here I put on the slide, it's just straight out of the program book, and it talks about the theme. So the world is getting smaller and more immediate, making global awareness more important than ever. Whether you travel the globe or stay closer to home, you are a citizen of the world and are impacted by global issues every day. So I think this is great just as a theme, and there's a lot of global themed events, and if you haven't checked your program book lately, you can go and see all those events, or you can go online. All those programs and the program book are available online. It's great to see already these events and this perspective taking shape in our council this year, and I'm excited for what we can do with it. And throughout this PowerPoint, I have these little phrases where I say, you could, ... and then I say like what we could do, a possible action item for this team. So you could ... attend themed events. So that's one thing you could do. And I would recommend too for anyone to go to one of these events, check out what they're like. You could volunteer with them. You can assist content. There's a lot of things you could do just around pre-existing programs, ones that we already have planned. And I can get you in touch with your local program person if you need to. World Thinking Day, this is the obvious connection. That's Saturday, February 23rd. This is 2019. So World Thinking Day started, I want to say, in like 1920 or something like that, as which came out of the natural growth of Girl Scouting as a global movement. So they had a world council meeting, or there's like a special term for what WAGs members come together and have this meeting every 4 years. So that's when they started WAGs, so a long time ago. And so we celebrate our global sisterhood and the Girl Scouts all around the world. So for World Thinking Day, one of our was very popular in traditional events. You could recruit global partners in your area to offer a booth at World Thinking Day. You could get refugees, restaurant owners, international students, etc. Or you could help recruit troops to run a booth and help them with research and activity planning. So some people might be in a more rural area where it's harder to find refugees, immigrants, restaurant owners, etc. But then you can help girls to make a booth. You can help find troops that are interested in doing a booth, and then help them think about fun and interesting ways to present the country. So that's something you could do. Sustainable Development Goals. So I think I have website pulled up. Maybe not. But the Sustainable Development Goals are goals that the United Nations has for the whole world. And I think the goal is like 2030. There are 17 goals, I think, and they all are around specific measurable uh, goals. I keep using that word. That's okay. So it's an agenda, a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. It seeks to strengthen universal peace and larger freedom, eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions, including extreme poverty, is the greatest global challenge and an indispensable requirement for sustainable development. We are resolved to free the human race from the tyranny of poverty and want to heal and secure our planet. So it's very high, very fancy language there. But the Sustainable Development Goals inform a lot of work that WAGS does, as well as GSUSA, within like the Global Action Awards. So I just throw this in here, and I will send out a link to the Sustainable Development Goals and some other lessons that you can teach around the Sustainable Development Goals in a follow-up email. So that's just something keep in mind, and it's good to be aware of. You may already know about the Sustainable Development Goals anyway. The Global Action Award. So this is an award that Girl Scouts specifically can earn. They can earn it, all levels can earn it. It connects to the WAG sisterhood by helping girls work together to make a difference on topics that affect girls and women all over the world. It's an official national award, so you can wear it on the front of your vest or your sash just like a badge. So there are special activities that girls have to do, and there's a packet that comes out every membership year with new requirements for the Global Action Award. So those have not been released yet for this membership year. So we're kind of waiting for those to come out, but they typically revolve around a sustainable development goal. So that, or two. So that's why I mentioned those before. We'll see what that is, but you could recruit 1 or 2 troops in your area to earn the Global Action Award and help them as they complete the work. And that would be a really great way to support girls in your area as they are on their global journey. Global Action Days patch. So this is a new thing, and I don't think I have that pulled up. But there's they're doing, GSUSA put out for just this year. So Global Action Days are days like International Day of the Girl, which was celebrated just like last week, Thursday. There's World Environment Day. There's Girls in ICT Day, which is Girls in Internet Communication Technologies. There's a bunch of other kind of, I guess, United Nations action days, holidays, I suppose. You can use a bunch of different terms for those. And there's a packet for Global Action Days, and groups can do activities around 3 Global Action Days, and once they celebrate those 3 action days together, they can earn a patch. So they can do it however they want. There are like 11 action days that they can participate in. So just 3 out of those 11, and they do the activities, and then they earn the patch. So, and I will be sending out that PDF so you can look at those activities and those action days as well. You could plan an event in your area around a particular Global Action Day. Lincoln will be doing a bunch of those, and Omaha will be doing a bunch of those as well next year, 2019. You could support troops as they do activities around the patch. You could recruit troops in your area to complete the Global Action Days patch. So, go out and try to find people. You could create a celebration event where everyone who earned the patch gets together and talks about what they learned. So those are all options on helping girls on the Global Action Days patch.
I was going to jump in and say, Renee, if you don't mind, I think starting with the Action Days patch would be a great way to get some troops involved with it.
Yeah.
I know that I've looked at the other one, and the requirements are just a lot. I mean, our troop does Honor Troop every year, so thinking about adding that other patch into it just wasn't going to happen. Mm-hmm. But this looks manageable. And
Yeah.
then if you had a girl who missed one of those events, they could still earn it by going to another, since there's an option for several different events.
Yes.
So I think once you get them excited about it, you see that it's possible to learn things in a small unit, then you can recruit them for some of those things that are the more sustainable in that other global award.
I like the progression in that thought. I've been thinking a lot about progression lately, and I like that approach where you start with this and then build from there. So that's a really great thought. Okay, so travel, that's an exciting thing. We all love to travel. So we have kind of 3 different types of travel. We have troop travel, council-sponsored travel, and destinations. And so troop travel, obviously, that's kind of a thing that they're doing on their own. And as a council, we don't always know who's traveling, and we're working on getting better at that. And council-sponsored travel, I work a lot with that. My coworkers who are planning trips and leading trips. And then destinations, which are they are domestic and international trips that girls go on by themselves. So they go outside of the council. They don't travel with their friends or troop mates or parents. They go by themselves, and they participate in these trips with other Girl Scouts from around the country. So we had 5 girls travel this past summer. And sometimes it's hard to describe destinations, but it's a very independent level of travel, like kind of the top of the progression. So for travel, you could talk to troops about the benefits of travel and how they can plan their own trips. You could offer a troop travel training and help troop leaders learn how to plan a trip with their girls. Obviously, we all would like to travel all the time, but I think it's really great to think about encouraging troop leaders to take girls on trips more often. I think for me, I would like to see more of that, and I've kind of been on a couple webinars recently with GSUSA talking about this, and I think it would be a really interesting and fun and easy way to promote the global, even if they travel within our own country. I think that would be, it's good for girls to do that. So doing what we can to help troop leaders plan trips. So supporting troop leaders as they travel, I think that would be really cool to do. So destinations specifically, so destinations, girls have to apply to go on these trips because they usually have limited slots. So you could talk to high school girls in your area about destinations. You could host a destination application party where girls get together and they fill out the applications. Destinations and Desserts is a name of what some councils do, where girls get together and apply together, write their essays, send emails to their references. That's the word I was looking for. So for destinations, this would be something we could do, encouraging more girls to travel outside of Nebraska on the independent level. World Centers. And I was going to pull those up. I don't have that. The World Centers, we have Arcabaña in Cuernavaca, Mexico. We have Pax Lodge in London, our Chalet in Switzerland. We have Sangam in Pune, India. And then Kusafiri, which is a traveling World Center in Africa. So these are the 5 global Girl Scout World Centers. It's more like an education point. I think a lot of people don't even know they exist, but they're really cool, and they've been around. I want to say Sangam is celebrating like 52 years now, so they've been around a long time. They have a deep Girl Scout history. So you could teach co-leaders about the World Centers. You could follow them on social media. You could help a troop plan a trip to a World Center, which I think would be really cool to see a troop travel. And if you're intimidated by international travel, going to a World Center is a really great way to do it because it's Girl Scouting. You know, you go and you stay there, and a lot of times they have itineraries and events that you don't have to do anything. You just show up and participate in these Girl Scout activities. So that's something we could do is just talk about the World Centers more often, raise awareness. So these are just kind of some other random thoughts I had. You could meet with co-leaders and offer to be a resource for global activities in your area. You know, do a similar type of training. I mean, much better and more put together than what I'm giving you tonight, surely. But you know, talk to them about the different resources they have. A lot of people just don't know about Global. Like I said before, it's the best kept secret in Girl Scouting. A lot of people don't realize that these resources are out there, and then when they hear about them, they're like, "Oh, that's really great! Like, I'd love to do that with my girls. That'd be really great for them." So, being a resource for co-leaders is great. You could meet with new co-leaders and give them information on Global. Encourage them to reach out to you with questions, and I guess those are similar in a lot of ways. Then you could build relationships with troops overseas. That would be something. I mean, some of you already have relationships overseas, so you know, just being in messaging, Facebook messaging with a troop leader, or putting troop leaders in touch. You know, pen pals. There's lots of things you could do. Putting troops in touch with Nebraska troops. I recently was in touch with a troop leader from England, and she sent me this badge packet that her council had put together in preparation for the World Scouting Jamboree, which is this coming summer, 2019. And there were a bunch of activities just to prepare kids to travel to the World Scout Jamboree. So she sent me that packet, and she's like, girls in Nebraska can earn this patch, and then they can PayPal me, and then I'll send them the patch. So I thought that was such a cool idea. Like, our girls can earn a patch from a council in the UK, and what a cool way to connect with a troop overseas. So things like that, you don't know what's out there, but there's lots of cool stuff out there. So EF tours, and this is something that I'm just starting out to learn. I'm just learning more about this now, but EF Tours is a company that they have a staff. They're a huge organization, but they have a staff dedicated just to Girl Scout travel. They have 15 or 16 people who only do Girl Scout travel. They have relationships with 60 councils, and they help plan itineraries. So they do destinations, they do council-sponsored travel, they do troop travel, they do everything. They help plan trips. They help all kinds of stuff, all different types of trips. They have that available for troop leaders. So I think that would be neat too. They have a very interesting website too, if you want to check that out. But I think that could help us talk about troop travel more often and encourage troops who may be hesitant to travel. Well, hey, this is a way you can do it with a lot of support. So that's a really quick explanation of a lot of our resources at the council. So I guess the question is, who wants to sign up? Well, I guess if you have any questions for me, you can ask that first. But who wants to sign up and commit to this? And then we got to plan to have an in-person meeting at some point too. So questions, concerns, thoughts for me? I mean, Jen already had a great point with the Global Days patch. You're all on mute right now, so if you're trying to talk, okay.
Do we have any other troops? I know that there's been some of the pen pals with Japan, but do we have any other sister troops that we could try to connect with globally? Or how do we start looking for something like that? Because I think, again, starting small, pen pal might be another thing for troops to do. And then, like, I love the idea of pen pals, how we've done it here in Lincoln with that school where the students travel and they get to meet each other. Wouldn't that be great if we had girls who got to travel because they knew each other?
Yeah, I think that. So just a thought, like I love bouncing ideas off each other. Um, like looking around in your community where people are already making connections and then following up and writing to other people. So like you were saying, the Japanese kids come here already, so maybe there's some other travel programs. I know there's international students. I had an international student come to a World Thinking Day once from Tajikistan, which is a really interesting place to learn about. No, not yet. I almost got dinner delivered to me, but I gotta finish talking here. But but there's already like this student exchange program in Lincoln, so maybe working with the student exchange program to find out who's going to be here this year and integrating those girls into Girl Scouting and encouraging contact afterwards. So maybe they adopt a high school student, like one troop adopts a high school student or something like that. I don't know. I think that's a great idea because, yeah, when you build that connection over years, that makes you want to go and visit your friends. So that's a great idea. I don't know exactly how we do it, but I think that's worth talking about more and exploring.
Well, the other ideas that I brought forward to the Girl Scout Council back, I think it was it July, at their leadership retreat. There are two things that are happening. One would be like World Refugee Day would be a way of getting our Girl Scout at an event. It's here in Omaha. It will be like the third Saturday of June. And it's an opportunity to learn about refugee issues across the world. There's many refugees that attend the event. It's a free event at Joslyn Art Museum in Omaha. And so there'd be opportunities for Girl Scouts to participate in that day, to lead art activities during that day. And we could possibly also use the facility. The event runs from 10 until 2, but the museum is open until 4, that we could orchestrate something that could take place in the museum from 2 to 4. And it kind of incorporates getting troops possibly to travel to Omaha as well as attending this event. And so that was one suggestion that I brought to the girls, and they were very positive about that thought, and something I wanted to bring to our the Global Action Committee. And then the second idea was, I mentioned that we have teachers from Mexico coming to Nebraska every summer. And so is there a way that we can tap into that resource? It's just like you were saying, Renee, with the, students that are coming here to study, connecting with that resource that's here. Is there, we could connect with the teachers from Mexico who would love the opportunity to share more about their culture and communities with people in Nebraska. And so, as I said, they're in 5 different parts of our state. And so that's another activity I was hoping to connect to Girl Scouts.
I feel like we'll have a lot of ideas.
Yeah, I do too, especially when we start thinking about it more. But you know that I'm very interested in being part of this, Renee. So I look forward to working with anybody else that's interested in doing this for our girls.
Well, there's a lot of people that didn't make it on the call, which I kind of expected because I was off on Monday and Tuesday, and I didn't think about that. So that's why I didn't plan this a little bit sooner. So that's on me. But I will send this out, and hopefully we can get some people to watch it and then see if they can want to join, and then plan a meeting. So that's the next step, which would be nice to do. I'd like to do it before Thanksgiving if possible. If not, I think as long as we get it on the calendar, that'd be okay. But we'll work on that as next, like confirming people who want to commit and then planning a meeting from there. So Bree and Jen, are you guys ready, interested in committing? And I I am completely want to be respectful of people's time. So if there are certain projects you're interested in and not others, that's, I think, well, what I really want to do is to make it interesting to you so that if something that you saw tonight is interesting to you and you want to do that, but nothing else, that's okay. I think any contribution, even if it's like part of the year or just from home, you can do something from home, but you can't like go out and meet people. That's fine. I just want to, upfront make sure that you all know that we'll work with you if you're interested in committing. So.
Yeah, as of right now, I'm definitely very interested in going forward and getting to meet everyone and talk about all these different ideas. And I feel like just going through the presentation, there were so many where I'm like, yep, I want to do that. So yeah, no, too many. So I think at this point, I don't know if I have any like ones that I am like personally wanting to do, but I think it'd be great just to get a little bit more information on each one and then go from there.
That's good.
Jen, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely want to be a part of it. I'm just trying to think of like which is the best match and things like that. Those Global Action Days, you said you were hoping to get it started next year?
Yeah, so the Global Action Days specifically, I applied for a grant from GSUSA to offer 3 Global Action Days next year. And I think we probably will still do it in Lincoln, whether or not we get the grant, because we're really excited about it. But we're going to do a series of movies for 6th to 12th grade girls. We're going to show Code, Debugging the Gender Gap for Girls in ICT Day. We're going to show Arise, which is a movie about a documentary about women around the world who are doing really amazing things with the environment in their home communities. And then that's World Environment Day in June. And then we're going to show Girl Rising, which is an amazing movie about 9 girls from around the world and what their lives are like. And so that's going to be an International Day of the Girl a year from now. So October 10th, yeah, it will be the 10th, 2019. So we're going to offer those as council-sponsored events next year. But obviously, group service units can do more. Like there's a lot we could do, but there will be those 3 built in for 6th to 12th graders.
Yeah, I think that might be one that would be an easy start for me. I just started a new job and I'm finishing a degree right now too. So, I gotta have it be just the right fit of time.
Yeah, and if that's something you're interested in, Global Action Days, like helping to promote that, talk about that, answer questions, be a resource, that would be great. I like the idea of having, everybody with a clear role. So if that's something that's appealing to you, awesome. Okay. And then I think when we get together, we'll get a better understanding of like the strategy as a whole and maybe how we can support each other in our work. So I think that will come as we go. So I think that's about it.
I was going to say, anybody watching the webinar later, feel free to join me on that. I don't need to take it on completely by myself.
Yes, teams, that's right. And who knows, maybe we'll get people across the state participating and excited. Okay, well, that's about it for tonight. And it'll probably be kind of quiet for a little bit as everyone else hopefully watches this and decides if they want to commit. So just stay tuned and, email me if you have any questions in the meantime, or I'll email out the resources that I talked about tonight and you can look at those and just read and get excited some more. And I'll be in touch when we're ready to make plans for our next meeting. So thank you, everybody. It was nice to chat, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Renee. And Bree and Jen, I look forward to meeting you.
Great. Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.